the Office of the Special Prosecutor OSP Act. The request communicated to the Majority Leader and the Majority Chief Whip follows the President's public commitment to strengthen the anti-corruption agency as a vital cog in the nation's governance architecture. President Mahama's intervention came a day after he expressed strong support for the OSP during a meeting with the National Peace Council last Wednesday. He argued that the office remained a critical institution in the national fight against corruption and should be reinforced, not dismantled. And this was in a statement issued by his spokesperson, Felix Kwachi Ofosu.
Meanwhile, former Tamale Central Member of Parliament, Yunus Afuseni, on this has strongly opposed the approach by the Majority Leader, Mahama Yarga, and the Majority Chief Whip, Roxy Nelson Dapamakpo, seeking to introduce a private member's bill to repeal the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Essentially, he says that the leaders in Parliament are supposed to be prosecuting the government's business and not to be opposing it. So
I'm also staying in Parliament on page 4 of the Ghanaian Times. Parliament has passed the Road Traffic Amendment Bill 2025, which seeks to legalize the commercial use of motorbikes, tricycles, and quadricycles as part of efforts to create employment opportunities for the youth. The bill was passed yesterday after I went through all parliamentary processes, including first, second, and third readings, as well as a presentation of a report on the bill by the Committee on Roads and Transport. So a few highlights: it proposes a minimum riding age of 21 years, lower than the initially proposed 25 years, as the government moves to formally regulate the commercial motorcycle area. Speaking on the floor of Parliament, ranking member on the Committee of Roads and Transport for MP for Achime Swedru, Mr. Kennedy Nyakon, said the bill would help to address some lapses that were contained in the existing law. So for his part, MP for Bia East, Richard Achiampo, underscored the need to establish dedicated road lanes for motorbikes and other road users to help address traffic congestions. He also urged the proposed age of 21 years for one to ride a motorbike as contained in the bill must be reviewed, as there were individuals who cater for themselves at the age of 20 years. They might as well just take it to 18. Because there are people.
You see, I think one of the biggest concerns about the motorbike riders and its commercialization is safety. I don't hear that. I'm hoping that would have been catered for, because the flagrant disregard for road regulation is very concerning. I'll take you to Daily Graphic, back to the story about the Auditor General invoking its powers. Former NSA bosses to refund 2.4 billion Ghana cedis, and Kester Kranchi writes the Office of the Auditor General has invoked its constitutional powers to surcharge former top officials at the National Service Authority (NSA) and their collaborators in a move to recover 2.4 billion Ghana cedis unlawfully paid from state coffers, following a technical and forensic audit of the National Service Authority systems, which the office describes as a well-orchestrated conspiracy designed to systematically defraud the state. The Auditor General, Johnson Ekuamwa Asiedu, has written to the officers involved to pay the amount totaling 2.4 billion Ghana cedis in lieu of justification. The Daily Graphic has cited the audit report covering January 2018 to December 2024, which was submitted to Parliament on October 1 this year.
Kaka, Abu Trika has been arrested over alleged $8 million romance scam. Story on channel1newsonline.com. Jonathan Ajay writes that Frederick Kumi, a 31-year-old Ghanaian from Swedru, has been arrested in Ghana for his alleged role in an $8 million romance scam that targeted elderly victims in the United States. The U.S. federal indictment recently unsealed also identifies himself by the aliases Emmanuel Kojoba Obeng and Abu Trika. Now, according to the indictment, Kumi was part of a criminal network that since 2023 allegedly used artificial intelligence to create fake identities and engage victims online in romantic relationships. Now, the perpetrators reportedly approached elderly individuals through social media and dating platforms, building trust via phone calls, emails, and messages before requesting money or valuables under false pretenses such as urgent medical bills, travel expenses, or supposed investment opportunities. The stolen funds and valuables were allegedly sent to co-conspirators in Ghana and other locations. Kumi faces charges including conspiracy to commit wire fraud, money laundering conspiracy, and a forfeiture specification carrying potential prison terms of up to 20 years if convicted. Go for it.
Page 13 of the Ghanaian Times, the Ghana Revenue Authority has intensified enforcement operations across Accra to ensure individuals and tax businesses comply with the country's tax laws as well as honor their tax obligations. Led by the GRA's Enforcement Task Force, the ongoing exercise involves unannounced visits to selected companies in Accra to verify their tax records and ensure compliance. Among the tallest of companies and businesses visited to inspect their tax documents are Metalex, Inter-Africa Company, and Irving Company Limited, where a rigorous review of tax documents, invoices, and payment records were conducted. So it looks like the state GRA is chasing its money.
There's an article on page 7 of the Daily Graphic, very interesting article titled, "What is the National Character of Ghana?" by Enimil Ashong. And with your permission, I'll just quickly go through that. It reads, on November 27, 2013, the Prime Minister of Latvia, Valdis Dombrovskis resigned because the roof of a supermarket collapsed, killing 54 people. He said he took political and moral responsibility. That to me was, quote, culture in action. His action reflected the society's norm. Same way in Germany, it was not unusual that German President Christian Wolff was investigated in 2012 because his friend was alleged to have paid for his hotel room and his food while on vacation. Accused of favoritism and unethical behavior, he resigned. That, I repeat, is culture. It reflects the national character of Germans. Will this happen in Ghana? What is the national character of Ghana?
Right.
And I'll jump to one other paragraph just below that says, swear by the Ghanaian. Not very many years ago, you could swear by the Ghanaian. There were crimes which you could, quote, thrust your hand in the fire and swear they could not be committed by a Ghanaian. Once upon a time, honesty was a national identity. I'll leave it here. It makes an interesting read.
Yeah, we'll grab the graphic for further details, but just a good one for listeners. Fuel prices set to drop for Christmas. Oil Marketing Board Chair assures.
Nice.
Yeah, so Board Chairman of the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, Gabriel Kumi, says Ghanaians should expect cheaper fuel this Christmas as global product prices continue to fall. He says the indicators already point to clear reductions across petrol, diesel, and LPG, and consumers will feel the relief from mid-December. So he explained that diesel has seen about 10% decrease and petrol has also seen about 6% decrease already. So we should be looking forward to some decreases as the Christmas is upon us. The final one I'll bring you is that tomorrow is National Sanitation Day. AMA is setting that AMA, Accra Metropolitan Assembly. This is across the board, but the AMA has scheduled the third and final one for tomorrow, 13th December. It starts at 6 a.m. across the city. Originally set for 6th December, the exercise was postponed to accommodate celebrations marking the 41st National Farmers Day and Fishers Day. So all shops, all open spaces, we're all supposed to be cleaning our spaces and make the city as clean as we wish it to be. So good luck to us. Yeah.
All the best to you guys.
Why you are not part?
Me, I clean my house every day and I pay
so we are
taxes
going
to
to
my
clean.
assembly.
Yeah, so
they'll clean the other
The
parts.
Ghanaian Times too agrees with you in the editorial.
Yes.
It says that we should read Kwame Nkrumah's Circle of Beggars and the Destitute. So that you're tiptoeing.
And the filth there. Thank you.
We'll pray.
Thank you very much.
This is the City Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Sika boom. Fidelity Bank say save and win. Muntio. Sika boom. Just deposit and begin. Sika Bieto. Every 500 CDs you keep for a month, you get 1 point all at once. More deposits, gets more points in. More points, more cash you feel win. How many points? 1 point every 500 CDs. What if you win? 5,000 CDs monthly. And the grand prize? Hey! 100,000 Ghana CDs.
Don't
wait. Visit any Fidelity branch or agent nationwide to deposit in multiples of 500 CDs. The more you deposit, the better your chances to win 5,000 CDs monthly and 100,000 CDs in the grand draw. Terms and conditions apply. Win with us. Fidelity Bank, believe with us.
Sikaboom!
This is an NLA approved promo, now running on the Caritas Lottery platform.
Oh, jump on now.
Go. Google me. And what time will you come back where I don't hear the sound of your car? Why you buy new car?
No, I don't change my car. It be the same ride. It be the fuel way I change. Way one shouts it. Ever since I started using the all-new Excellium Premium Fuel, fortified with 3-in-1 action. Oh, Joe, now my car they run like electric car. No, it's so.
This is the type of fuel where they want to. Because now engine they cost. Where they want for way if I buy it, it go protect my engine. And with the small way I buy, I go drive, sir.
Absolutely. It's like strapping a turbocharger to your engine and giving it a protector. And what they bust my mindset be the 3-in-1 action, no? Excellium they prevent up to 99% of deposit. It be anti-wear, some be anti-corrosion. Won't pay when I open there.
Hey, so where can I find this magical fuel?
Just head over to any Total Energy service station and your car will thank you.
Hey, then make a finish my go be fast, then rush go Total Energies. My friend, but why your hand my go be inside?
I give you info. Make a feel the go be too small.
Go.
Excellium is designed to protect your car engine, decrease fuel consumption, and lower CO2 emissions. Don't say fuel, say Excellium. Choose Excellium, choose quality.
This is the City Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
We'll bring you the breakfast edition of the City Business News, proudly brought to you by MTN. Samuel Akom is here for that. Good morning, Samuel.
Good morning, Caleb. Welcome to Friday edition of the breakfast edition of City Business News. This bulletin is brought to you by MTN, EcoBank, and Valix. I am Samuel Akom. Thank you for your time. Let's get into our stories now. The Ghana Revenue Authority has dismissed claims of extortion and misconduct by customs officers at the Kotoka International Airport after a traveler was charged over 12,600 cedis in import duties. In a statement, the GRA insisted that the allegation of the incident was inaccurate. According to the authority, the traveler arrived in the country last week with 18 mobile phones and several electronic accessories, quantities far above what is permitted under the Personal Concession Provisions of the Exemptions Act 2022. It further explained that the items were not declared on arrival, compelling customs officers to process a bill of entry in line with standard procedure. Duty was subsequently assessed through the Integrated Customs Management System and an official receipt was issued, but it adds that no extortion occurred, no goods were confiscated, and the traveler was never detained. Away from that, government must step up its revenue mobilization efforts following the abolition of the COVID-19 Health Recovery Levy. This is because the repeal has created an estimated revenue shortfall of about 3 billion cedis, a gap that must be filled through more efficient and sustainable alternative measures. Tax analysts warn without compensatory actions, the fiscal space could tighten further at a time when government needs stronger domestic revenue to support economic stability. Tax consultant Francis Timoboy has been speaking to City Business News.
The two major political parties promised that they were going to repeal this particular tax type. So this is more like a commitment to what was promised, and that is why I see government repealing this particular tax type. So overall, it's good for economics in terms of sound public policy, and also a big relief to consumers and businesses, especially because of its cascading effect, tax on tax. I think it's good. However, government should be able to raise enough revenue to fill this gap because of the hole that has been created as a result of the repeal of this particular tax line. 3 billion is not a small money that government can let go.
You heard tax analyst Fasibe spoke in an interview with City Business News.
The central bank has been very aggressive in terms of mobilizing excess liquidity, trying to rein in inflation, the high inflation. Because if you have a high inflation, it distorts the macroeconomic environment. Inflation, distort the information content of investment. Investments are not able to plan, interest rates go high, exchange rate. It affects everything. It's stifled economic growth. So if you're able to bring inflation down to 6.3%, that is a significant milestone that have been achieved, because we are operating within an inflation targeting regime. And so if you have your inflation within the medium-term target, what that means is that the policy rate would have to fall, which is a wholesale rate. Once it begins to fall, then other rates would have to follow suit. So you will see that the cost of borrowing will reduce, and once the cost of borrowing reduces, private to the private sector would increase, and that would strengthen the productive levers of this country. More production would go on, more employment will be created, and the economy will be more resilient to face any shocks that come.
Professor Eric Osei Asigwe is Chief Economist at Development Bank, Ghana. On the forex market this morning, the dollar is trading at 12.25, the British pound at 16.20, that of the euro could be sold to you at 14.20. Be guided, these are average rates from forex bureaus and not the Bank of Ghana's interbank rate. And that's it for the breakfast edition of City Business News. Thanks for listening. I am Samuel Akom. Next is the City Business Edition.
Je m'appelle.
Je m'appelle.
Je m'appelle.
Mappe. Et mappe. Hey, Asamo. French idiot. This is midi croissant.
Meet Jan. She makes sobolo in a small shop in Kaswa. She's going places with MTN Ejumapa. Now, she's learning French kakra to teach her francophone customers indigenous recipes.
Watashi no namae wa.
Watashi no na. My boy.
Whoa. She's learning Japanese too? Watash. What? If you're a woman with a small business, join MTN Ejumapa today by dialing *5060# and enjoy 150 megabytes data, a lifestyle bundle for social media, free MTN to MTN calls every Monday, and an insurance cover. You will also gain access to expert training, discounts on digital tools, and financial support to grow the business of your dreams. Terms and conditions apply. MTN.
We asked Ghanaian business owners what they want from Old Mutual.
I want insurance and pension solutions that will protect my employees.
Your business growth is our business. For 180 years, we have partnered with businesses to protect and grow their most valuable assets. From tailored group life assurance protection to affordable pension plans, we've got your business and your employees covered. Contact your broker or call Old Mutual on 0509 551 609 today. Old Mutual, do great things every day.
This is the City Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
So the business edition, the breakfast edition of the City Business News was brought to you by MTN. There's that feeling during Christmas. Everyone is home. You buy data in the morning. Before 6 p.m., everything is gone. You buy another one, and before day breaks, everything has vanished. You start wondering if the family is drinking data for breakfast, supper, and lunch. That's not their fault. You don't have unlimited data. That's why you need MTN Fiber this Christmas. It's fiber, it's unlimited, it's fast, and it's on fire. This season, put your home or business on MTN Fiber and enjoy a special range of packages for new users, plus even better offers for existing customers. And here's a bonus. The first 60 customers to sign up will receive vouchers from MTN. For new customers, just log on to the My MTN app, tap more and request for broadband. Check availability in your community or dial *5057#. Follow the prompts. MTN everywhere you go. We'll bring you the business edition shortly. Domestic revenue mobilization, persistent gaps undermining the country's ability to fund development sustainably. is the focus on Citi Business Edition today with Dr. Gloria Afol-Mensah. She's a senior lecturer at the Department of Economics, University of Ghana, Legon. Before we get there, Lasheho Ghana is 15 years old. 15 years, you are cherished customers. You've trusted us to improve lives across the country. We celebrate this milestone with a heartfelt thank you to you, our customers, partners, and communities. You've made the journey possible, and together with you, we are looking forward to the future with confidence, knowing that with Lasheho, lives will improve. Visit any Lasheho branch or simply call or WhatsApp Nana on 02700 40799 for any of our financial solutions. Lasheho Ghana, 15 years of improving lives and still counting. Polytank is giving you an extra sparkle with surprise gifts just for you this festive season. If you walk into any of their authorized Polytank dealer shops, you purchase your original Polytank, you'll walk away with a special gift. If you even choose the Sumo or Sumo Super model, you will receive an additional gift for the kids in school. Remember, Polytank comes in 4 trusted models: Hippo, Rambo, Sumo, and Sumo Super. We don't compromise on quality. Polytank does not request for mobile money payments online for delivery. Stay alert. Buy from original dealers in person only. Polytank, Papano, and Kassam. Now, you've fueled every journey with Shell. It's now for Shell to reward you with free fuel from the new and improved Shell fuels, designed with additives that deliver efficiency, cleaning, protection, and performance for your car. That is better by far. Every time you top up with 300 Ghana cedis or more worth of new Shell fuels, you get an opportunity to win 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and even 1 year's value of the new and improved Shell fuels. That's more fuel and even more savings for your pocket. Don't miss out. Visit the nearest Shell station, fill up, and get ready. Get rewarded. We're running this to the 28th of February 2026. We're doing this. Terms and conditions apply. Simply better by far. New and improved Shell fuels. Now, kickstart your day with the irresistible chocolatey goodness of Twitsco. It's enriched with N-Effort, a combination of energy-boosting minerals, vitamins, including B vitamins, vitamin C, D, iron, and many more. It's going for just 2 Ghana cedis, so give yourself and your little ones a treat. Simply mix with water, add milk, stir, and enjoy. Twitsco, power your dream. So Dr. Gloria Afol-Mensah is the senior lecturer at the Department of Economics, University of Ghana, Legon. She's been breaking down key findings from her latest study on tax gaps, illicit financial flows, and revenue mobilization in Ghana, looking at how we can seal the leakages within the tax system, minimize the scale of illicit flows, adapt policy reforms needed to strengthen compliance, and expand the tax net. So all of these is what you're about to hear in one packed presentation. Enjoy.
The Citi Breakfast Show. Rise above the noise.
Please wait. Please wait. Please wait until I get my new car. Please wait until I find my real size. I'm gonna get me some love so bad. My girl, sweet girl, my girl. I can see all your
This is
joy.
how our tax effort looks like. So when we say tax effort, it's just the tax revenue to GDP. So the GDP is the market value of, goods and services that are produced in an economy for a particular period in time. So here, the graph simply compares Ghana to her peer, countries. So the countries we see here are all lower middle income countries. And we see that Ghana is the deep blue. We are below. So this is just a very short time period. Of course, if you date it back, the story isn't different. So if you look at between 2013 to 2023, our tax revenue to GDP ratio was just about 12%, between 11 and 12%. Compared to a country like Kenya, Kenya is up there about 15%, compared to a country like the purple, Lesotho, they are far above there. So there's a lot that we can't do or we can't explore. So that's actually one of the reasons why, if you look at our medium-term revenue strategy, there is an effort to increase our tax to GDP ratio. Well, in 2024, we did better, because in 2024, our tax to GDP ratio was about 16%, was 15.9. And, well, you can say that part of it is because we are under the IMF's program, and so we've seen that the IMF and even the World Bank now use the tax effort also as one of the criteria in when they are assessing you, they will do in terms of if they want to assist you. And so it is not surprising that in the last couple of years we've seen some marginal improvement. So this is how we are performing relative to other lower middle income countries, and clearly means that domestically we need to do quite a lot. The reason being that if you are not able to generate a lot of revenue or enough revenue from your tax system, then you have to think about other ways of raising revenue. And for most countries in the global south, the easiest will be to borrow. So either you borrow domestically or you go to the international capital market and you borrow. And that also has its own repercussions on the economy. So it is not surprising that if you look at, again, here is also a very short time period, but you see that our debts kept rising, particularly from 2006, to the point that by 2022 was about 77%. So debt to GDP ratio was about 77%. So as you can see the trend here, once your debt is rising, remember that the monies that you borrowed, you are going to pay interest. So it means that interest payment will also be rising. So that if you generate your GDP or the revenues that you generate domestically, you are going to use a bigger proportion to be servicing your debt. Then you are left with just a small fraction of it to, for your growth and development agenda. And so debt, of course, is not something that we want. Yes, a bit of debt. Every country owes, even the US, Japan. But again, the problem has been how we use our money. If you look at the businessmen in Ghana here, a lot of them, they borrow. You go to the banks and you see that they borrow. It's where we use our monies. And unfortunately for us, we haven't seen that our monies are being used in ways that they can generate resources for us. If you look at Ghana's tax system or revenue mobilization strategy, several reforms have been implemented over the years. If we just focus on the tax system, we've seen reforms. At least in the last decade, we've seen a significant efforts in the area of digitalization, okay, to block some of the leakages in our revenue system so that we can mobilize a lot from it. And so, even though, like I said, in 2024, we saw an improved tax efforts or, yes, revenue efforts from the government. And 2025, obviously, if you look at the data so far, we would also record some improvements. This is still significantly far from the target that we have set in the medium-term revenue strategy. So in the medium-term revenue strategy, which is for 2024 to 2027, we are expecting to get between 18% to 20%. So sometimes if you look at 16%, 70%, and then 18, 20, you might think we are close, but it's not that easy. Right? And so that's why I made a point that we are significantly far from our target if you look at what we have set in our medium-term revenue strategy. Now, yes, the tax effort gives us some indication about how the country is performing in terms of raising or mobilizing revenue from our tax system. But it doesn't tell us anything about the effectiveness or the efficiency of our tax system, right? And so that is why it's important that we understand what you mean by tax gap. So very shortly, I would explain what you mean by tax gap. So the tax gap analysis will be able to tell you that, okay, if you, given the tax rates that you have, the various tax rates that you have, and the people that you are targeting, if you're able to put systems in place, very well, and enforce, those tax systems well, you will be able to raise this amount, right? So that is theoretically what you can get, given your tax laws and the tax, everything about the tax in a particular country. Then you come to the reality. So at the end of the day, or at the end of the period, how much are you able to realize? Okay, so you want to see the gap. So the gap is what would tell us whether our revenue system or the tax system, whether it is efficient or not. So that is why it is important that we do estimate the tax system. So knowing the tax system is the tax gap is very important, so that you can have policies that would target areas that we are not doing enough, so that we can raise more revenue. And from the documentary, the various people that were interviewed said it clearly that IFFs also drain us, because these are monies that ideally should come to the revenue authority or should be made available to the government, but they find a way to leak out of the system. So these are also potential ways that we can mobilize a lot of revenue, and the government can use those revenue for the growth and development agenda that it has for the country. Again, it is important to understand the tax gap. If you know where the tax gap is, then your tax system can be designed in such a way that it can be inclusive, so not just equitable. You don't want to leave some people behind. So you can have a neutral tax rate, okay? But if you apply a neutral tax rate, all things being equal, we all don't earn the same in the country, or we all don't have the same living standard. So a neutral tax may impact on people differently. So that is what you also don't want. So you don't just want to have growth, but you want to have an inclusive growth so that nobody is left behind. Another reason why it is important to look at the tax gap and then the IFF is what I said earlier, that these days the IMF and then the World Bank also use this as performance indicator before they will assist you. So if for nothing at all, knowing that this is our 17th time, and this is Ghana, so I can predict that there will certainly be an 18th time. We don't know when, okay? So you need to have some of these indicators in check, so that when we have to go to, I'm not saying we must go, but the reality is that if we don't, if we don't enforce our laws in a way that we can be self-sufficient, we end up going again. If you want to go, they will ask for some of these things too. So it is important that we understand the tax gap in our system too. And also in the SDG, so the illicit financial flow is part of one of the targets that we have in our SDG. So specifically, the SDG 16 target 4 says, to reduce illicit financial and armed flows, strengthen the recovery and return of stolen assets, and combat all forms of organized crime by 2030. 2030 is just about 4 years away. And unfortunately, if you look at the most recent progress report of the SDG, Ghana is not doing well with this particular goal. So the progress report released in 2025 says that we have stagnated. So again, this is important that we look at some of these things, and then for policymakers to also act swiftly if we want to attain this particular target. So the objectives are clearly from the reasons or from the introduction that I've given you of the study. So basically what the study did was to look at our tax system, to understand the composition of our tax system and then the effectiveness of the tax system, and then to look at the tax gap and how it affects domestic revenue mobilization, and then also issues about IFFs and implications on domestic revenue mobilization and the gender defect. So as I said earlier, the documentary did it. Maybe what the documentary did not do is the gender defect. So maybe that's where I'll focus on when I get to the issues about the IFFs. Okay. And of course, some policy recommendations. So I must say that In terms of methodology, so what the study did was to explore the various reports, of course, the existing related studies that we have, what is known, what is not known, and then we identify the gaps and then how to address the gaps. Okay, so that's what we do. So straight to the first issue, which is the tax gap. Maybe because this is not part, or this wasn't part of the documentary, so I will spend some time here. So I already explained what a tax gap is. So the tax gap is very simple. You look at what, as a country, given the various tax laws, what you can raise or can mobilize from our various taxes, okay? And then you look at, so that is theoretically, I mean, what you can receive. Then you look at what is actually received. So the difference becomes the gap. So very simple as that. So the potential tax revenue minus the actual tax revenue, okay? And so what the tax gap simply does is to look at the legal revenue potential. So by law, what we can get, okay? Now, if you look at the tax gap in terms of its composition, the literature outlines three components. So one is underreporting. And basically what underreporting means here is that taxpayers will definitely lodge their tax returns, but they will understate their tax liability. So they are underreporting what they are supposed to pay. Okay. Then you can have another component where there will be underpayment. So with regard to the underpayment, the taxpayer, or yes, the potential taxpayer will file their tax returns, but then they will fail to pay the tax that is, being owed. Okay. Then we have the non-filing. So these people, they are outside the loop. So they will neither lodge nor pay. Okay. And we have each of them in our system. So it is important that we identify who is under which of the components, and then our laws will have to find a way, or tax enforcement agencies will find a way to make sure that the right thing or the right amount of taxes are paid. Now, when it comes to the sources of the tax gap, there are a lot of them. So here I list a few of them. So those of you who are well into taxation, you will know that normally when we say a good tax system, we expect that a good tax system should have certain properties. So what we call canons of a good tax system. So we say a good tax system should be equitable. Of course, equitable in the sense that economists will say there should be horizontal equity. So horizontal equity meaning that equals must pay equal taxes. Then there should be vertical equity. So vertical equity is just the opposite. Unequals must pay unequal tax. Okay. So that we'll be able to achieve equity. And of course, you should also look at the ability to pay. Equity also means that you should have a tax system that is progressive. Okay, so that those who can pay more based on their living standards should pay more, and vice versa. We say a good tax system should be efficient. Efficiency in the sense that it's like you running your own business. At the end of the day, you want to make profit. So clearly, the cost you incur in running your business should be less than the revenue you are going to get. So in the same way, for the good tax system to be efficient, it means that the cost involved in implementing the tax system should be far lower than the revenue, so that you can get more, you can raise something out of it. And of course, if we talk about efficiency, economists, it means that the tax system should not worsen the welfare of the people, so that you can have an efficient tax system. Then another characteristic we talk about when we are concerned about a good tax system, it should be simple. Okay, so it means that if you have a complex tax system, then you give rooms for, some people not to pay, or it becomes difficult to even force people or compel people to pay. All right. So sometimes the complexity of the tax system can generate or can lead to the tax gap that we are talking about here, that you'll not be able to raise the amount of revenue that theoretically you should be able to raise. Okay. This is very obvious. When people are dissatisfied with the government in terms of their spending and everything, they are also reluctant in paying taxes. So it's also another important source of the tax gap, why we are not able to raise revenue, enough revenue to match up what's on paper we will project to raise. Okay. Then corruption, that is very obvious. I mean, so that I don't even have to explain. Apathy, so it's another reason. Greed, so it's another reason. And then this is when you have a high level of shadow or informal economy, or what some people will call underground economy. So we are very familiar with it, those of us in the global south, because we have a high level of underground or informal economy. It becomes difficult to even have proper record of, economic activities in the country for you to design a good tax system for them. So if you have a high level of informal or shadow economy, you are also more likely to be unable to raise the potential revenue that you can generate from your tax system. And other economic considerations. So sometimes, like maybe the current mood of the economy, I don't think people would want to see new taxes, right? Because people are complaining. So when the economic considerations, I mean, they are not fair or they are not really good, clearly people will find all sorts of ways to avoid or evade, paying tax, and so that also affects our tax gap. So these are just a few of the sources of the tax gap. Okay. Now, when it comes to estimating the tax gap, there are two main approaches. So one approach will be to look at the macro level. So that will be to look at the top, and then you calculate it down to generate the tax gap. So with the macro economy, what you have to, if you are using the macro approach, what you have to do is the assumption is that the tax gap typically emanates from the shadow economy or the underground economy. So what you need to do is to estimate amount of income that could be generated from, in that underground economy, and then you simply multiply it by the tax rate applicable, and then you will be able to determine how much tax that you can raise from that informal or underground economy, and then you look at what is actually being raised from that economy, and then you can get your tax gap. Okay. The micro approach, or what we call the bottom up, is the reverse, and normally this would depend on, rely on survey data. So you look at individuals, households, or firms, and then you estimate how much they are earning or their income, and then what you do is then you bring it up so that you have an idea of how much income can potentially be generated from these firms or households or the underground economy, and then you can multiply it by the tax rate, and then you can get the potential tax revenue that you can raise from this economy. Unfortunately, for those of us in developing countries here, it is difficult to do the micro approach because of data limitations. So most of the works that you've seen, now part of the world, will use the macro approach. Okay. But the good thing is that in this study, what we did, or what the study does, is to look at, existing studies, and thankfully we have a few studies which do both. So they look at both the micro and then the macro approach, so that you can have an idea about the tax gap, and from there we can begin to look at the operational and then the structural gaps that we have in our system, and then how we can, address them so that we can eliminate or at least close the tax gap. Okay. So the first was actually a study that was done at the informal sector. So this is what you use the micro approach. So, we know that Ghana is predominantly informal. Our economy is mostly informal. So according to the Statistical Service, 8 out of every 10 Ghanaians who are employed are in the informal sector. Okay, so that's about 80%. The narrative out there is that the informal sector is undertaxed, or the informal sector, let's say, the narrative actually is that, the informal sector, they are untaxed. So we heard it. So if we cast our minds back to why the e-levy, for instance, was introduced was premised on the fact that the informal sector is not taxed. Why should a whole country rely on 30% or about 30% who are in the formal sector to raise revenue for our tax system? So the informal sector is under tax. So that is how come the e-levy was introduced, right? Now, this is a false narrative. So false, I use false here cautiously because most of these narratives, so most of the people who would say that the informal sector is untaxed, they imagine the informal sector to be homogeneous, okay? But this is not the case. The informal sector is made up of different categories of workers, okay? Some people are paying taxes, some obviously are not. Some people were paying below what they should be paying. Some are even overburdened. And so when we understand that the informal sector is heterogeneous, then we begin to think about a tax system that will incorporate the heterogeneities in the informal sector. And for me, I think that was one of the reasons why the e-levy failed. It was for a good intention, right? Maybe in the manner in which it was implemented resulted in the tax becoming regressive, so that the low-income groups were the ones affected. Another issue is that, when we speak about taxes in Ghana here, our minds go to the revenues that end up in the consolidated fund, so that our definition, if you look at our definition, the tax is what goes to the consolidated fund. What our market women, other people pay, we call them levies. And so we lose sight of it. Meanwhile, those levies are also tax-like payments. So you just don't assume that, the informal sector, they are not paying taxes because of the way we define tax. And so that is why I choose to use the term or the expression false narrative. Okay, now, the good thing was that this particular study, what they did was to deviate from this false narrative and then to estimate the tax gap in the informal sector. So they do that by using data from the Ghana Statistical Services here. So they use the Ghana Living Standard Survey, round 6, and then quarterly data from the small taxpayer office of the GRA. And what they did was to look at, so basically you look at the various informal sector employments based on the survey data. And then obviously the survey collects information about their economic activities, how much they are earning, and then based on the applicable tax rates given in them by the GRA, you can estimate how much tax they should be paying and what we are losing. Okay, so what the study did, revealed that the annual potential tax that we should be raising from just these informal businesses is about, let's say, about $82 million. Okay, but the actual tax raised from them is just about $25 million. So the difference gives us the tax gap. And this is what is shown in the graph here. So you can see that we are losing a lot, or put it differently, we are only able to raise about a third of what we can raise from the informal sector. Okay. And so clearly we are losing 2/3, which is a lot of money, obviously. If you want to really have an idea about the magnitude of what we are losing from the informal sector, then we need to compare it to our GDP. So the GDP is the market value of goods and services that you produce for a given period. And that constituted almost 0.3% of our GDP. Okay. In terms of revenue that we are losing, it's about 1.2% of revenue. So it means that this is the magnitude of tax gap we are experiencing as a country in our informal sector. if the system, all things being equal, should work perfectly, then this is how much we are losing. This is how much we can, the 82 million, of course, maybe it's on the higher side, but at least we should be able to raise almost $80 million from that sector. Okay. Now, you also see that if you disaggregate where the tax gap is coming from, because it is important, yes, in as much as you quantify this, you need to understand where it is coming from so that the policy can target specific areas to raise more revenue. So there are quite differences, a lot of differences. So it was evident that there's a higher tax gap among small firms than medium-sized firms, and in fact it's about 5 times if you compare the tax gap between small firms and then medium-sized firms, about 5 times if you compare small-sized firms to large-sized firms in the informal sector. It's about 2 times. Okay. Well, maybe also because a lot of our small-sized firms, in the way they operate, some of them are in the houses, some of them are even difficult to locate them, and so it becomes difficult for our revenue agencies, to target them. In fact, some of them, even when they see the revenue agencies coming, they can even run away or just fold up, and then when they leave, they will just set up. So the way in which our small-sized firms are organized contribute to why there's a bigger tax gap there. Okay. Then the tax gap was also unfortunately higher among female-owned firms than male-owned firms, and this the tax gap associated with female-owned firms is about 4 times compared to that of their male counterparts. Well, the reason being that a lot of females operate this small-sized firms, so it's not surprising to see that the tax gap is higher among female-owned firms, because a lot of the females will operate a small or micro businesses, and so if the tax gap is higher for small or micro businesses, then you expect that the gap will be bigger among female-owned businesses. The tax gap was also higher among owners of firms who did not have any formal education. The reason also being that, well, if you have formal education, all things being equal, you are more likely to know the importance of taxes. You are more likely to know even the repercussions if you don't pay your taxes. You are also more likely to know why you need to pay your tax for the government to use to maybe finance certain development agenda for us. So it is not also surprising that among those with formal education, you would have the tax gap being relatively small. Again, it also points our minds to, if the revenue agencies need to address this, then we need to find a way to get our tax messages, in different languages. Okay, sometimes, Ghana is very heterogeneous in that maybe when we think of developing tax messages, maybe we'll think, yes, English, then probably we'll just pick maybe Ghana or maybe Ewe or something, but we know that there are a lot of dialects. So you need to draft these tax messages in the way that they will reach a lot of people, where people will understand very well and so will not run away from paying taxes. And then there was a higher tax gap among firms with no savings compared to firms that save. That's also quite obvious because you would expect that those with formal education are more likely to be the ones who will save with financial institutions, all things being equal. Again, people who would typically save are people who will be dealing with the bank. Sometimes when you need a facility from the bank, you may have to bring some documents about your tax returns and whatever, and so they may also be compelled to be paying taxes again. Okay, so these are some of the differences, or yes, when we look at the tax gap, when we disaggregate the analysis, where we see where our tax gap coming from, and so for our revenue agencies or policymakers or even CSOs to pick up to when they are embarking on tax education and other compliance activities. Okay. I already spoke about the implication of revenue. So we see that only about a third of what could be generated in the informal sector is realized.
Please wait until I get my new car. Please wait until
dear.
Hey, Charlie, what's it? Imagine buying your favorite gadget and driving home a sleek saloon car.
Oh, yes. With Max Buys You Shop, You Drive promo, every purchase brings you closer to amazing prizes.
Just shop any product from Max Buy between 7th November to 31st December
And stand a chance to win a sleek saloon car, TVs, smartphones, and more. Your next buy could make you a winner.
So what are you waiting for? Shop now and let's make your dream drivable with Max Buy.
Max Buy. You shop,
you drive. For further inquiries, call Max Buy on 054 401 9552. Terms and conditions apply.
This promo is being run by the NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform.
Make a choice. Go for it. You need support to achieve. A new verse awaits you. The Republic Verse, where you're treated as uniquely as you are. Succeed, thrive, outshine yourself. This is our verse, the Republic Verse. Join the Republic Verse and big up. Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Who is calling me this other one?
Hello. Good evening, Kwame.
Good evening.
We are into baby foods and would like to introduce...
Wait a minute. How did you get my number? You just use ways and means to find people's numbers and be calling them by heart. No respect for privacy or anything at all.
Oh, Bra Kwame.
Is your business privacy ready? Do you collect and use information of people in your line of work, like their name, number, location? You might be doing the wrong things. Whether you're a big company or a small one, you must respect people's right to privacy. Register and be certified by the Data Protection Commission of Ghana. It is the law. You will receive the necessary training, advice, and guided on the right systems to put in place to help protect information you collect about people. Register your company. It's simple and online. Visit www.dataprotection.org.gh to register. Privacy is the responsibility of everyone. Remember, privacy is personal.
Come on. Good boy. Honey, look, he's crawling. Wow. Good job. The new Cerelac Wheat and Maize has the combined goodness of wheat and maize grains fortified with iron, vitamins, and minerals also found in fruits and vegetables. To prepare the new Cerelac Wheat and Maize, just add milk. Enjoy your little one's big moments at less cost. Cerelac, care for them, count on us. This advert is FDA approved.
We asked Ghanaian business owners what they want from Old Mutual.
I want insurance and pension solutions that will protect my employees.
Your business growth is our business. For 180 years, we have partnered with businesses to protect and grow their most valuable assets. From tailored group life assurance protection to affordable pension plans, we've got your business and your employees covered. Contact your broker or call Old Mutual on 0509 551 609 today. Old Mutual, do great things every day.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation. The Citi Breakfast Show. Rise above the noise.
Friday, December 12, 2025. Welcome to Kickoff on 97.3 Citi FM. I'm Gabby Offer here with all the updates in the next few minutes. Many thanks to Zonda GH, Politan Ghana, Shell V Power, and Lesheho. Let's improve life. Well, let's start off with some World Cup related stuff. In Ghanaian supporters hoping to cheer the Black Stars of Ghana at the 2026 FIFA World Cup will need at least $140 for a match ticket, according to the prices released by FIFA on Thursday, December 11, 2025. Now, the minimum prices applies to Ghana's opening Group L fixture against Panama on June 17, 2026, with Category 3 tickets set at $140. For Ghana's second group game match against England on June 23, ticket prices rise sharply, with most affordable Category 3 tickets costing $220. When the Black Stars' final group game against Croatia on June 27 is also priced at $180 and $500, depending on the ticket category. So the Black Stars will take on Panama. They'll take on England and Croatia at next year's World Cup. Well, away from that, Sports and Recreation Minister Kofi Adams officially laid before Parliament the long-awaited Sport Fund Bill, a move he believes will transform the funding landscape for all sporting disciplines in Ghana. Now, since assuming office, the minister has been vocal about the need for a dedicated legal framework to support sports development. His latest action, he said, is aimed at accelerating growth across the sector.
Instances where the ministry I superintend over has been described as a football ministry because funding is mostly secured to support just football. When we talk about sports, it goes beyond football. There have been many attempts to put together a funding system that will enable the ministry execute its program by bringing on board many more sporting disciplines and supporting them. Cabinet, in its wisdom, gave approval for this bill to be submitted to Parliament, for Parliament to consider it, so that for the first time, the country will have a sports development fund, a fund that will draw from many sources as indicated in the bill that has been laid before this House, that when approved, we will not have the challenges of funding our sports, and sports will grow to bring about development and support other progressive activities that we do in this country.
All right, so that's Sports and Recreation Minister Kofi Idi Adams speaking there. Well, away from that to some women's football. Now, Ghana's Black Queens have climbed 5 places in the latest FIFA Women's World Rankings following an impressive run of form since August. Now, previously ranked 67th, Ghana now occupy the 62nd position globally. Here's more in the report.
In what has been a remarkable year for Ghana's Black Queens in 2025, many were initially skeptical about the team's future following the Nora Hitler saga with the Ghana Football Association, which eventually saw the Swiss tactician leave for Zambia to take charge of the Copper Queens. In her place came another expatriate coach, Sweden's Kim-Lars Björgren, who was appointed as Nora's successor just months before the start of the 2025 WAFCON. Despite the limited preparation time, he led the team to an impressive third-place finish in Morocco. Capping off their strong year, the Black Queens earned widespread praise from football fans after their spirited performance against Serena Wigman's England Lionesses. Following that display, many believe the team is now poised to finally win the WAFCON next year in Morocco, a sentiment shared by the Sports Ministry's technical advisor, who also doubles as the chairperson of the Black Queens B Management Committee.
For us to have moved from the ranking of 67 to 62, I think it's a great news for all of us within the football administration to celebrate and to congratulate our girls and then give them a pat on their back. Like you rightly said, we have seen a very good administration. We have seen the initiatives, the work that has been put in place by both the technical team, the GFA, and of course, the government as a whole.
All right, so that's the report ended by Betty Cross-Mensah, who is the technical advisor for the Ministry of Sport and Recreation. Well, just a quick run through the EPL games coming up later on Saturday. That's match week 16. Chelsea will take on Everton. Liverpool up against Brighton. Burnley will play Fulham at 5:30. And Arsenal up against Wolves at 8 p.m. For Sunday, Crystal Palace up against Manchester City. There's Forest taking on Nottingham Forest. Sunderland will take on Newcastle United. And then West Ham United up against Aston Villa. And Brentford will play Leeds United. And then later on Monday Night Football at Old Trafford is Manchester United up against Bournemouth at 8 p.m. Well, that's the very latest in the world of sport. For more, you can head to citysportsonline.com and on X at City Sports JHA. I am Gabriel Fair. Do take care. Bye-bye.
This festive season, Polytank is adding extra sparkle with surprise gifts just for you. Simply walk into any of our authorized Polytank dealer shop. Gets even better when you choose the Somo or Somo Super model, because you get to receive an additional gift for the kids in school too. Now, that's what we call double. Remember, Polytank comes in 4 trusted models: Hippo, Rumble, Sumo, and Sumo Super, with each build with a guaranteed quality Ghanaians have trusted. Choose Polytank. It's the original and always the best. This offer is only valid this festive season. Only time, Papa no and Kasa.
If you need unique services, innovative financial solution, we deliver on our promise, cause we are number one. Let's share go, we improve your life. Let's share go, let's share go, hey mama, hey mama, hey mama. Even when you're stuck with nothing, no matter your situation, let's share go, we improve your life. Let's share go, hey, let's share go, hey, let's share go, hey mama, hey mama, hey mama. Let's share go, we improve your life.
I'm telling you, my brother has scored more goals than Asamoah Gyan.
What? This is impossible.
Check the stats.
What stats? We can't start. I have seen everything from 1986.
Funny thing about us Ghanaians, we'll argue for 3 days straight, but numbers always settle the matter. So instead of just telling you about better fuels, let's do the math. The new Shell Fuel Save lasts up to 15 kilometers longer per tank. The new Shell V Power cleans 100% of your engine's critical parts.
Now that's better by far.
The next time you think of filling up, choose new and improved Shell Fuels.
This festive season, Polytank is adding extra sparkle with surprise gifts just for you. Simply walk into any of our authorized Polytank dealer shop. Gets even better when you choose the Somo or Somo Super model, because you get to receive an additional gift for the kids in school too. Now, that's what we call double. Remember, Polytank comes in 4 trusted models: Hippo, Rumble, Sumo, and Sumo Super, with each build with a guaranteed quality Ghanaians have trusted. Choose Polytank. It's the original and always the best. This offer is only valid this festive season. Only time, Papa no and Kasa.
It's finally December and every little moment is lit. So get your MasterCard so you can pay your way easily for all the fun. From evening tea when the Afro beats kick into the morning to an Amapiano party on wheels, tap, scan or click with your MasterCard Desbronya for every payment, with exclusive offers on priceless.com/MasterCard December. Give your December the memories it deserves. MasterCard, priceless.
Join the conversation on the Citi Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag CitiCBS.
You know how much moms always say too much of everything is bad? But there's one too much mom actually approves of. Telecell's Too Much Broadband Bundle. This festive season, all you have to do is buy the 150 Ghana Cedis Too Much Broadband Bundle in addition to your main broadband plan and get 150% bonus data. That's right.
From December 1st to 31st, simply buy the 150 Ghana Cedis Telecell Too Much Bundle in addition to your main broadband plan and receive 150% bonus data. Dial *900#, use the Telecell Play app or visit the Telecell website to buy now.
Telecell, connecting energies.
You looking for a bank to rely on? Let me give you a shoulder to lie on. Would we say to bank be no lie? Only one place where I get my eye on. Make I introduce you all to First Bank, the best services in the world, first rank. Customer service, everything is well planned. I make music, I travel, I sell land. They be my reserve tank. Cause every time I know my money's safe. Universal banking ain't in me here on the date. I'm a busy person, me no need time to wait. Now I got to Spain, even when I'm in the States. My me blue shirt. They tell me office a chilly, but who cares? Cause I bank with the best. I'm lucky, I'm too blessed. When it comes to First Bank, it's too west. Everything is you first. Woo! Nobody feed do I'm like us. Do I'm like us. First Bank we treat you first. Treat you first. Somebody see yeah. Think about you first.
first. Think about you first.
You first. First Bank. We asked Ghanaian business owners what they want from Old Mutual.
I want insurance and pension solutions that will protect my employees.
Your business growth is our business. For 180 years, we have partnered with businesses to protect and grow their most valuable assets. From tailored group life assurance protection to affordable pension plans, we've got your business and your employees covered. Contact your broker or call Old Mutual on 0509-551-609 today. Old Mutual, do great things every day.
Hello, Auntie Abena. You won't believe what just happened. Grandma received her 4 TV. 4 TVs? Yes, 4.
Okay, I'm coming. I'm not.
It's like a scandal now. You are using it to spread grandma like that.
Spread grandma.
4 TVs, 2 fridges, microwave. Abba, Kojo, why? You want to open an electrical shop for her?
Hey, no. It's a regular 100 cities I send her.
Call grandma.
Call grandma.
Hello? Hey, Grandma. So who is buying all those stuff for
The
you?
luckiest. We've been told me 5 times a year.
Yes, so with the luckiest, anytime you buy tickets up to 100 cities, whether small or at once, you are guaranteed to win a free gift. TV sets, fridges, hampers, airtime, cash. Freebies they drop like rain. Remember to dial *712#, choose option 4 and follow the prompt. With the luckiest, everybody gets to win some.
If I win, you win.
New Kivo Hot Pepper Powder. This advert is FDA approved.
Channel One TV has a way of telling their stories. Stories that empower change. Capturing the trending issues, delving into our communities, getting out the voices that matter.
Almost 13 to 16 people were under the ground and it collapsed on them. Yesterday we were able to make it and remove 8 of them and 4 were dead.
Channel One Newsroom, CNR, brings you an exhaustive coverage of the day's news. 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. every night.
Don't mind in forest reserves. And always when you've created a mess, clean it up. The laws are there. So it's not that we need more laws. It is just that we need more enforcement.
Channel One Newsroom captures the exact news temperature of the nation. From the northern, western, eastern, and southern parts of Ghana, Channel One Newsroom, CNR's got you covered.
Let's speak to the core issues in terms of how we can prevent professionals who have been given the mandate to teach our children, and for this matter, the old children standard of care, and how they can live up to expectation.
8 p.m. and 11 p.m. every night.
How can somebody where can you tell the person I appreciate you for 10 good months? I can't stand it. I'm owing rent. What should I do to be able to pay my rent? I don't understand. They should pay us. Enough is enough.
CNR, telling your stories, empowering change. Catch CNR on Channel 1 TV at 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. every night.
Charlie, my clippers are tired. Sometimes they just stop mid-haircut. It be yawa.
Hey, relax. Before you turn my haircut into creative arts, I beg, get extra cash from Forms Capital. They then sort you out.
Extra cash? Tell me more.
Make I put you on game, bro. You get an instant loan that goes straight into your Momo wallet without any long things. You have any day up to 30 days to repay. And interest is only charged for the days you actually use the money. Look, the best part is, the more you repay on time, the higher your limit goes.
Charlie, that be hassle-free way to support the business. A new clipper means more satisfied customers and fewer embarrassing moments. Charlie, count me in.
Whether it's tools, business, or bills, Extra Cash gives you the power to keep your business running. Because when you grow, your community grows too. To activate Extra Cash, dial *170#, select 5, then select 3, and then select 5 again to sign up for free. Live extra with Extra Cash.
Join the conversation on the City Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com/City97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/City973, and Instagram at instagram.com/City973 with the hashtag CityCBS.
The City Breakfast Show. Rise above the noise.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your Pastor Donzi, and I bring you greetings from the Church of Christ. This is the day, a new day the Lord has made. Let us be glad and believe in Him. Lord, we thank you for goodness, we thank you for mercies and for giving us beyond what we deserve. We thank you for goodness, we thank you for mercies and for giving us beyond what we deserve. Father, as we stand before you, strengthen our heart and light our path like a beam. Ayo, answer the stone boy, Baba, singing my for 1 million.
Rise above the noise.
God, we pray for Ghana, just as we did for Israel. Make us great and strong. First match in Israel. We deeply need strong leaders to build the nation to help us solve the problems we face.